I'm joined in studio by our international affairs commentator, Philipp Turle. Philipp, the EU is intending to punish Moscow with this fresh round of sanctions, but could this in effect come back to bite them? Could it come back to bite Brussels? Will Europe, will France in effect be punished by what they're imposing on Russia?
This is a very complicated situation for the West, not only for the European Union, but also for the United States, because there are hot and cold messages coming out of Moscow by the Russian President Vladimir Putin. Will he invade the country? Just how far will he go? Will he, if he does send in these supposed peacekeeping forces to Donbass, will he try just to take back Donetsk and Luhansk? Or will he go further and take back the whole of Donbass? Will he even try to take back Mariupol? That we don't know. So the sanctions are starting to come in. But because nobody really knows what Vladimir Putin's final aim is, it's difficult to know what sanctions to actually impose right away. What the message coming out from the European Union is that we'll start by putting in some sanctions, but we don't want to go the whole hog and put in all the sanctions we could, because then obviously Vladimir Putin would have nothing left to lose, and that would give him the green light that he needs to invade the whole of Ukraine and try to take hold of Kiev. And the other problem facing the European Union and also the United States is what will the fallout be of sanctions against Russia as far as their own economies are concerned, because you have to remember that 40% of gas coming into Europe comes from Russia. 20% of that is used here in France. What is going to replace that if those gas supplies are turned off? The Russians are also the largest producer of wheat and cereals in the world. That's to 1/3 of the total production comes from Russia. That's going to push up the prices of those products. A lot of comparison in France saying the price of the French baguette will go up sharply if there's going to be increased sanctions on Russia. And also the price of oil will go up. If gas goes up, so does oil, and that's going to increase the price of petrol prices at the pump, which are already rising sharply. So there's all this potential fallout. What will the effect be on Russia, and what will the effect also be on the West? And I think that is the big dilemma facing Western leaders. How can we punish Russia but without punishing our own populations at the same time?
And Philipp, publicly Moscow is brushing off these sanctions, but how concerned do you think Putin is by the developments over the past 24 hours or so?
I don't think Vladimir Putin is particularly concerned. I think that Vladimir Putin has banked this. It's a bit like a company, Sharon, where you know you're going to make a loss, so you take the necessary steps to account for that loss before the loss comes along. And I think that Vladimir Putin has been planning this for quite a while. We've seen this build-up of troops over the last few months. It's not just something that he's done on a whim, and I think that he has made amends for the fact that he knows that sanctions are going to be imposed. Sanctions have already been imposed since 2014 and the annexation of Crimea. Well, that hasn't stopped Vladimir Putin from going even further this time round into Ukraine. So I don't think that Vladimir Putin is particularly worried about the sanctions at the moment, and I've heard plenty of Russian officials laughing them off, saying, well, of course, this is not going to affect us at all because Russia is in a strong economic position at the moment. So whatever sanctions the West tries to impose on us, well, it's not going to make much difference at the end of the day.
Philipp Turle, our international affairs commentator, thank you so much for that analysis.